Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
As you are probably well aware, I have a tendency to go long, 2+ hours per stream, but we can shave it down. I intentionally made the schedule open so that if it did go on longer, then you'd have 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, cool.
But
Well, we're live now.
what was that?
We're live now.
All right, let me take a quick look, see, make sure that everything else, all the other platforms are muted. I got to see if there's some way I can broadcast to more platforms than just the 3. How was your day, by the way?
Yeah, good. Been busy. Sorting all sorts of things out.
Well, hold on. I intentionally. There it goes. All right, go ahead. You were saying?
Oh no, I was just saying. It's just doing real life stuff and comic stuff and just getting on with it. Really, I go back to work on Monday, so I've been doing quite a few things to sort of get everything moving.
Oh, did you have a little vacation?
We're on like school holidays, so it was one of the reasons why I launched my book on the 16th was so that I could concentrate on the promotion for the first 2 weeks.
Oh, that's smart. How long is your school holiday in the
I go back on Monday, so it was about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought it might be longer. Okay.
No, not the winter one.
This is considered the winter one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a big break like us in the U.S. where you literally have like a summer vacation?
Yeah, we get 6 weeks in the summer.
Okay. Welcome, Statistical Zero. Hello, all. People Circus, welcome.
Hey, everyone.
Hello, Matanui. Good to have y'all. Very, very cool. Man, this is so exciting. I used to see you in chats. Well, you still are in chats and streams and stuff. And man, time has flown. It's like just moments ago, you were. I was seeing EVS and others read your super chats, and bam! Now you're in the prime time. You're in the big time.
It's scary. I still can't believe this is my project. It's just, it's absolutely mad to think that this is actually coming to be a thing now.
Yeah, seriously. Can you touch on briefly what, how you got to the point of deciding to make a book about Charlie Chaplin?
Well, I'd had this idea floating around for quite a while, and I'd said before I'd love to turn the first sort of 10 chapters of his autobiography into a graphic novel, because that's the first part of that really is what interests me with his life in early London. But then I started to think, well, hang on, his life in early London's actually you can't just narrow it down to those chapters. It has an effect on the entirety of his life. So I thought, well, I tell you what, do it thematically. Talk about that. Have it that London is the point he constantly returns to. So I sort of started playing around with these ideas, and then I sort of started coming up with the story. And I knew I didn't want to do it unofficially. I've worked with the Chaplins before. I know them very well. I didn't want to. I just wanted to do something that had their blessing. And I don't. There's a saying, isn't there? It's better to ask for forgiveness than approval, or something like that. I can't live like that. I have to always. I have to always do it the right way round and actually ask for approval before I have to even think about forgiveness. And so I've approached them. It felt like it took forever for me to actually get the license. In reality, it was probably only a couple of weeks. And then getting it, the rest was history. I just, and I got sort of the approval in January. And then from January, I started sort of putting it together, started thinking about artists, started thinking about stuff like that. And you know, it was funny because I sort of I sort of knew that I wanted to bring it out. It was about, originally I wanted to bring it out in April because his birthday's in April. I wanted to bring it out, and then all the stuff with like Critias happened, and the stuff with the Bright WyzGyz with Red Rooster and the Walmart deal, and there was a lot of that for a while. There was a lot of bad vibes with either bad business deals or unfulfilled creators, and I thought, if I launch this book now, it's not going to do as well as I would hope, for the simple fact that people don't know me enough to trust me yet. And it doesn't matter if this is an actual IP. You know, at the end of the day, people could very, very easily turn around and say, well, how do we know she's got this IP? Like, she could be making it up. She may not know them at all. There may not be anything. So I put it off. I started streaming myself. I obviously had been doing the stuff with the CG UK guys. I also got other artists involved with the project that have very good reputations, such as, you know, Donald DeLay, Carl Stefan, Vinny Tartamella. And I knew that having those names on a project that I was doing, it showed legitimacy to the product, it showed credibility to it. And I knew that I wanted it to be as professional as possible. And I really pushed for that. I built my own channel. I have a zero drama policy on Twitter and on YouTube, and I stick to it very religiously. And I built them up as much as I could. And then when it got to, you know, I launched my mailing list, and the amount of people that loved it, and I think somebody super chatted Ethan saying that my mailing list was live, and he sent me the link and he got me to come on. And then after that, you know, and after that it was, you know, he invited me on regularly. And then when it came to launching the book, he asked me if I wanted to launch on his channel, and like, obviously I said yes. But the intention originally was to launch just on my own channel, because I thought, well, you know what, and I'm gonna see how I'm gonna get on with this. And you know, I can't even thank him enough. It's incredible that he did that. I mean, I was stunned. And to me, the best part of that launch was when I became funded and we hit the 10K. Jan walked through the door, and he walked through the door just as which is in eye shot of where I was streaming from. And he's like, what? And I was like, I've just got funded. And he went, oh, hi, Ethan. He's still in his work uniform, and he's going like, hi. And she's funded. He went, oh, great, yay. And it was just,
oh my God.
It's just stuff like that. Like, I don't think I'll ever be able to thank him enough for doing that. And, you know, the support I've had from everybody. And I think I launched it at the right time. I think it was a good, everything around it was perfect. The only thing that I think I would have done differently is I wished on launch I'd had more pages of the actual art on the campaign, because every page I sort of get has to be approved. So that's why it takes slightly longer. There's 4 pages on there now, so there'll be a 5th one. There'll be like the first 5 will be on there. But to be honest, I don't think it's dented the campaign at all, because people have seen there's loads of stuff on my page, loads of stuff. You can see the sheer volume of beautiful artwork and great passion that's gone into it. And like, that's not just me. I reckon I'm about 25% of the love that's gone into this project, because, you know, Statistical Zero has done stuff for it. He's done my sketch cards. He's done the one shot for the stretch goal that was 20K. William Crawford Hazel has done this beautiful one shot. Of course, you've got the 3 guys that have done the covers. I mean, they're killing it on even the sales of it individually. And I've said this once before, and I got told off for it, but I don't care. I'm going to say it again. Before this book came along, the #1 selling book of CG UK was Mary Boys by Carl Stefan. And I don't care what he says. He's still the king of CG UK, because if it wasn't for Carl Stefan selling 62 covers of his book on my campaign, I would not have the funding that I do, and I would not have the backing that I do. So he's still the king of CG UK, and he puts me up the backside later on for that. I don't care. I'll happily take it, because he is. He's 100%. He is amazing, 100% amazing.
Does that make you the queen of CG UK?
Well, if you ask the boys, they say it's Yan, not me. So, no, I don't. I won't take that. I won't take that crown either, because we're all in that together. And I say that, and it's all right. People will say, yeah, well, she can say that, can't she? But that is the way I see it. I don't do anything without them. I'll give them shout outs where I can, and I'll support them wherever I can, and I always will. And so as far as I'm concerned, this is a group project. This is a group effort. We've all played a part in this, whether it's been sitting up talking to me on a hangout for hours and hours and hours because I'm not sure about one thing, or I'm having a crisis about another, or there's Captain Fuckhead who's done all the beautiful, the logo and everything on there, and he's designed a trading card that was on the mailing list. There's so many people with CG UK that this is a CG UK book. Like, I'm not going to say it's a showcase of the talent that this corner of CG has got. And I always stress that we're not separate from main CG. We're just on the same. We're all on the same time scale, time zone, with the same crazy sense of humour. We all found each other because we're UK based, but we all have the same fundamental principles and ideals as CG. It's just that we're all together in this little country here. That's about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's play this video here.
Yes, Charlie Chaplin.
There we go.
That is so cool. It's a nice. It covers all the key points about the campaign. The man, that's really impressive. Excuse me.
I did do the trailer myself with my very, very limited with my very, very limited technological skills. I did do that myself. So that's.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay.
So the music, did it come from one of his movies, or?
No. It comes from it's one of the free musics that you can get on YouTube. So
okay.
Yeah, it's just in there. It's like but obviously I have to put the logos and stuff on everything, which is what it's on the beginning and it's on the end as well. If I have actually had situations where I've got copyright struck by YouTube for things, and then I've had to just then they remove the copyright strike because they realise it's an official product. They think that it's just like me nicking clips of Charlie Chaplin and putting them into a video. But yeah. So when they I've had that removed a couple of times.
Gotcha. So let's see. So it took some time for you to secure the license. Was it a difficult process, or?
Well, I can't. You see, I'm probably, in one respect, I'm the worst person to ask for that, because, and the reason I say that is because I have I know them. I've done work with them in the past, so it may have been easier for me than it would be for other people. But on the other hand, the sort of the process of building up a reputation in CG and then building up a reputation with them are very similar stories, because I've worked with them for many years and they've got to know me and they trust me. And the same thing goes with obviously the CG community. So you still have to prove that you're going to do something the right way. And I think that, I didn't probably have so much hassle as other people, but then saying that, I still had to formulate a business plan. And there are 2 other Chaplin graphic novels that do exist out there. So the thing that I had to do was I had to explain and show how it was going to be different. So there's one that's I think it's in French or Italian. And then there is no, sorry, I'll tell a lie. There is one that's a fiction called The Fuhrer and the Tramp. That was on Kickstarter. That was it was official, but it had a completely different deal to mine, I think. And it's not a true story. Even down to the art isn't the same. There is a children's graphic novel that is pretty much the story of his life, but definitely not told like mine. Like I say, it's a children's book. That was originally in French and has since been translated into English. And then there is mine. There is an Italian one that exists, but it's unofficial. So that's the point. If you look at it, the art doesn't look anything like him, and the story is there are places when they've been a sort of bit lackadaisical with the truth, and it's very, very much because they have to have so many points of difference or they get sued. So I'm very lucky because they've been very, very good with me. I mean, they've changed very few things about the project. They've asked for tweaks here or there with the covers and things, but overall, they're very supportive of the story. They're very supportive of the campaign. On my Facebook, they've got I'll post about it, and one of them will comment, "Well done" on the post. So that's how sort of I am in constant communication one way or another. And if I'm not in constant communication, I know that they can see the promotion I'm doing and all the other sorts of things. So I have to make sure everything's as good as it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. My goodness. Very cool. A few of the messages between people in chat. Statistical Zero, looking forward to seeing you host Comic Book Gold tomorrow.
Yep, Stato's hosting. And just a shout out to William Crawford Hazel. He is launching the concluding part of Elsa Dark Werewolves and Bampots tomorrow. I do believe it's going to. He's as far as I know, I don't want to get this wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's doing some stuff with me about 6 o'clock our time, so it'll be about 2 o'clock EST. And then I know that Statistical Zero is actually interviewing him about Elsa Dark on Woolly's own channel. So
Wow.
So I'm pretty sure, even though for some reason I'm having a fuzzy brain, I'm pretty sure when we were talking in DMs earlier, he's launching on my channel tomorrow, which is 6 o'clock. I said to him, look, come launch on my channel. I get a decent amount of viewers. It's, your book is movie related. I mean, she's the B movie queen that's also off fighting werewolves and bampots and all sorts of things. So I said, it makes perfect sense. Come launch on my channel. My whole bloody channel's about silent films and about films.
Yeah, it seems like a perfect match. I definitely hope to be around to catch that. Because I backed the first Elsa Dark. I'm looking forward to this. This is the final book in the series, I believe.
Yeah, and Woolly's, like I say, he's done a one shot on my campaign. His art is he's got a real timeless style, and the timeless style that he has just worked so beautifully with what I wanted to do with the story that we wanted to tell. And we came up with the idea for it together because I was very much, there was a story, the friendship between Chaplin and Stan Laurel of Laurel and Hardy fame. I really wanted to talk about that story, but I was concerned that if I put it in the main book, it'd take the story off on a tangent. and then it's how do you write the story back round to being in the context of where you need it to be. You're going to go off on this massive thing, and it'd be really, really easy for the reader to get slightly bored. They didn't buy a book about Charlie Chaplin expecting to read about Stan Laurel. So,
Right.
so what we decided to do was we did it as a one shot, and initially it was going to be a stretch goal. But then as we got talking about it more, I was like, no, this can't be a stretch goal, because at the time I was thinking, if this book, if I don't get to the point where I need, you've got to think realistically. It's a minimum of a 24-page book. So obviously there's going to be printing and shipping costs involved in that. If I don't break to a certain point where I can produce this book,
Mm-hmm.
people are not going to get to see this beautiful artwork. But equally, if I do get there, but I just get there, it could have a damage on the amount of money that you have to pay for shipping, so that everybody gets this and all the costs are covered. So we decided, no, we're going to make it as an actual a book on the campaign that you can either buy separately if you're a Laurel and Hardy fan, or you can buy it as an add-on if you want it with the campaign.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So we did that. We did that. It's available. So if you get the Keystone Kit and Caboodle tier, which is the all-included tier, it's the top tier, and it's also what Ethan refers to as like the subscription tier. So everything that gets added into this campaign, from the point of it opening until the sort of 15th of December when the campaign closes, everything that's added in, apart from the stretch goals, because obviously the stretch goals will be automatically added in, it'll come in that box. So you get Stato's children's book in there. You'll get one of his sketch cards. You get all the prints. You get there's an exclusive patch in there. There's a pin-up by Billy Tucci in there. There's a sticker by 6 a.m. Comics. There is other bits and pieces. There is so much in there, and you get that for getting that tier. So every other tier you can buy the William Crawford Hazel book added on. So even I deliberated for a while what was going to be my featured tier, and I decided not to make the most expensive tier the featured tier, for the simple fact that I went back and looked at my DMs and my messages with people, and I sort of I judged on what they were telling me, what the market was telling me, and what most of the audience was telling me was the same thing kept coming up. We can't choose one of the front covers. We can't choose between one of the front covers. So I thought, right, okay, my featured tier is going to be all 3 covers, and it's all 3 covers and 2 prints. And the reason the 3rd print, which is the Carl Stefan cover, is not in there is because when we got funded, the Carl Stefan Virgin cover as a print, everybody automatically got. So if you backed the 3 tiers cover, you'd have all covers and all the tiers. And equally, I'm in the process of trying to work out, well, I know how to do it. I need to do it tonight. I'm going to send out an email tonight, and I'm going to send out information on how, if you have obtained the 3 tiers cover or the Keystone Kit and Caboodle cover, how you're going to be able to get the new stretch goal cover that's just been added on with seriously reduced shipping. Actually, no, I'd said it at no extra shipping cost. So there is now, because we hit 400 backers, there is a variant of the Carl Stefan cover, but it is coloured by ink spots.
Oh wow! Nice.
So what you can do is you can just access the secret tier. So if you've already bought the Carl Stefan cover on its own, you've bought the 3 tiers cover, if you contact me, you'll be given a secret link. That means you can go in and you can purchase the ink spots cover at no extra shipping cost. So it will just come in your package at no additional cost.
Whoa, pretty epic. So, wow. All right. So you ended up launching your campaign on EVS's channel. Is that right? Um, I don't know if I misheard or if I was just imagining things, but did EVS have some kind of contribution specific to your campaign?
Other than being a tremendous advocate and always wanting this project to be a thing, he's not done anything specific for it. But you know what, you might as well say that he has, because I got funded on his channel. I got funded in an hour.
Oh,
I got funded in an hour because
holy.
yeah, and it was because of his platform. Like, there's no point in turning around and trying to claim that it was. It is. It's 100% was, and I can't. I can't for 1 minute turn around and deny that. He's been such a great powerhouse behind this. You know, I came around and joked. I joked to Jan before I come on this stream. I was like, if I end up on Ethan's show anymore, I better watch myself, because if he keeps getting me sales, I'm going to have to pay him commission. I am. I'm going to have to give him a check.
That is so amazing. I'm going to read through some chats real quick. Stat says, here's hoping I do as good as you do on all your shows. Yeah, ComicsGate's pretty impressive. Welcome, I borrow ideas. Hail.
Hey.
Optimus Deadpool. Who let the limey on?
Hey, watching you.
I'll have to do a fans hour special with Wooly too. Yeah,
100%.
You guys are still on, Charlie. Let's see here. Hey, welcome, Fate Salvation. Hail. Welcome, Dwayne Douglas. Howdy. Yeah, definitely make sure you're subbed to ComicsGate's channel. He's got all kinds of great content. Welcome, Pale Rider. Welcome. ComicsGate has to balance CG UK schemes and scams meeting time.
Yeah, well, every Wednesday, this is how, like, we're to the outside world, we look like organized chaos, right? That's how we but to be honest, every Wednesday, I think this is why we are as close as we are. And this is not just this. I'm not saying this for good PR. We have a meeting every single Wednesday where we go over what's going to happen on our show. We go over anything that's happened in the week. We go over if there's anyone launching a campaign. Is anyone going on in these streams? Because what we like to do is we like to turn up in the chat for each other. We like to, help out each other however we can. So while I'm on with you now, they're in, like, Jan's in another room on the laptop with probably Carl and Wooly and Mark, and they're all in there. Probably maybe Peter Gilmore will be in there. There's there'll be Cap will be in there, loads of people, and we'll just be going through what's going to be happening, and they're incredibly organised. It's like I now do this the Saturday night show with Mandy, Statistical Zero's there, Peter Gilmore's there, Peephole's there, White Holiday's there, and we do this show. And we've even organised that the week that I'm hosting that, I'm not hosting the CG UK show. Mark's hosting it. So everything we do is very well organised. It doesn't look like that to the outside world. We look like a bundle of absolute nutcases when we stream together. But we do. There's definitely a charm. Like, we've got our own little following now, and it's quite cool. So we're quite happy with what we're doing.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, it seems pretty darn organized to me. You guys don't seem to be stepping over each other's toes. Everyone's got their own channel with their own content, and you guys hop on each other's streams. So it's working out.
Yeah. It's 100%. And the thing is as well is we do, like you say, we do a lot of stuff together. And also the lovely thing is that we're all very, very supportive. Like I said, I was going to stream. I was going to do my launch on my own channel, and then when Ethan said, like, come launch on mine, and I told the guys, and I was like, oh my god, like, I can't believe it. This is incredible. And they were, well, go and do it. Like, what are you waiting for? And I was like, I don't know. Like, it was just like really exciting, and they were all sort of cheering from the sidelines, and And it's not, I'm not making this up. We don't argue. Like there's no drama in that group. In fact, if anything has happened to any one of us to do with anything like that, one of us will drop a Hangouts link and go, come on, let's have a chat. Like, let's help you out. Let's see let's get each other through this. And during lockdown, it wasn't only necessarily CG related stuff we'd be talking about. If a couple of us was having issues with, working from home, or that we weren't going out, or we wasn't seeing our families, I can't even tell you the amount of nights where all of us have just been sat there doing a hangout till the silly early hours of the morning, just all talking, like having a drink, and literally it feels like they're in your living room. It is like that. It's not a made up thing. This is exactly like this.
It's pretty cool. Sato says it's proof they're all kind people, letting me tag along like I do.
He doesn't give himself enough credit. Statistical Zero is a great contribution to CG. He's everything that's right about it, because he's here because he wants to make good content, and he wants to legitimize a movement that has been smeared by the outside. And it's completely been smeared. I don't experience any of the stuff that is thrown from the outside. In fact, the only ones that I ever get any problem from and having to justify why I do what I do is the outside. And my attitude is very simple. If you don't like what this corner of the internet, this corner of comic books is doing, then don't pay attention to it. just get on with whatever you're doing. Have a nice day.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the reason I mentioned you're launching on EVS's channel is because I thought for a second I heard somebody say like there was if you back during the stream or something, there might have been an EVS cover or something like that.
No. There was a 24-hour cover that was Donald DeLay's cover in black and white.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. There wasn't anything. There wasn't anything. Yeah, I mean, oh God, don't get me wrong. If like Ethan turned around and said, "I'll do your print," oh my God, I'd be like, "That's just because." I've read his stuff for many, many years. I loved his art before I even came into CG. For him to do something on my project, I'd be like amazed. But you know what? The man's done enough for me. I don't. This is. I'm happy where I am. That the absolutely amazing thing. I got to showcase that book on his channel. I got to get funded the way that I did. I'm not going to sit here and say that there's anything more he could do. He did enough. And I'm just proud that I was able to get this book out there the way it is. So, yeah, that's 100% it. And afternoon, Cam.
Welcome, Cam. When you mapped out your fixed goal, were you basically going based on all kinds of research? Like a chunk of this is going towards shipping. A chunk of this is, you're also factoring international backers. Mm-hmm. And then another chunk of this is going towards the talent you hired to do the artwork and stuff like that. Was a portion of it, I don't know if you can say. If you can't say it, then that's perfectly fine. Is there like a portion of it dedicated to commissions for the state?
Oh yeah, I've got a contract with them for royalties that I have to pay, which is completely fine. I mean, the one thing I will say, which I think just proves how behind this project they were, was the contract stated that I only needs to pay that percentage if the campaign gets funded. So let's say if something happened and I didn't end up hitting that $13,000 that's on the screen there, I didn't owe him anything. That was it. But
that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And that's why I say I don't know if the deal I have with them is what other people would have. So I mean, if anyone ever wanted to do anything with them, I would, they contacted me and told me, like, said to me about how would I go about doing this. I would happily say, like, I tell you what, I'll speak to them for you, and I'll put them in touch with you, and I'll if it's someone I know really well, I'd recommend them. But I don't know. Like I say, like the other guy that's done a book, the Hitler, the Fuhrer and the Tramp one. I don't know what even his, whatever he had with the estate, because that would be confidential.
Mhm. Yeah.
I just know what I had, but it's interesting because I think that they were very, very keen on doing this project because the way that I've written it is I want people to read this, and then I want them to be able to go out there and have a thirst for learning more and pick up the other books that are much more in depth than mine. I'm basing my book on 2 very creditable books, and as a result, it's going to be as historically accurate as it can possibly be.
Mm-hmm. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like book 1 of 3, right?
Yep. Well, it's the minimum of 1, the maximum of 3.
Oh, okay. All right. So, wow, this is so cool, man. 64 pages, 64-page graphic novel. So that would be Perfect Bound.
Yeah.
And every time I go through this campaign, I am marveling at the artwork. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do some of the interiors? I recently learned from the EVS auction stream that you've actually done your own work before.
Yeah.
And your work is really good.
Oh, thanks. And no, there's the internals are not mine. They are by an artist called Mickey, who is friends with Carl Stefan. That's how I found out about him. There's no way in heaven or hell that I am good enough to do what I want to do with this book. And Mickey nails everything, absolutely everything. He nails the way that he looks. I mean, there's the next, I think it's the next page, or the page after. His likeness is breathtaking. So it's astounding. I mean, last night when Ethan was showcasing it again, he was saying that it's artwork that makes him feel like he's there. And Kelsey even turned around and said that it strikes the right balance of being like a comic, but also lifelike. And that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't want it to be cartoony, but I equally didn't want it to be so photorealistic that it was going to put people off that really wanted to read a comic.
Yeah, seriously. I was just listening to that screen.
Yeah, that page there is going to have no dialogue, because the way it's written in the script, you don't need dialogue.
Yeah.
And that's not because he was a silent film star and I'm trying to be ironic. It just doesn't need dialogue. You can see in that picture that he's sitting down, that it's the end of a take. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out something, and he also pulls out a picture of his mum. And it stops and makes him think about things. And that's what it wants you to do. It wants you to have that sort of, in fact, I lie. There is one piece of dialogue that's going to be on that page, and it's right at the very bottom when he's on the cruise ship coming over to Southampton. There will be something at the top of that final panel, but that is the only dialogue, and that's not even dialogue. It's like an instruction that's going to be there. So the art speaks for itself.
Have you already written the entire script for the whole collection, whether it be 2 or 3 issues?
In my head, as in I know what will be in each book. There will probably be some sort of slight changing, but ultimately I know what's going to be in all 3 books. The idea is that the end of book 3 is pretty much going to bring you back to full circle of book 1. Because the point of the story is that every trip back to London is either at a time in his life of personal or professional turmoil. And the very last time he comes back to London in the 70s, it's not about personal or professional turmoil. It's about overcoming previous turmoils and it's almost like it's a redemption arc. So it's the idea is that it's that pinnacle of the story where everything slots into place to be like his final hurrah, because I think it's 72. He gets his. I always get these two around the wrong way without even looking them up. It's either because I know he gets either the Oscar, the standing ovation for the Oscars. I'm pretty sure that was 75. And I'm pretty sure he came back to London in 72, and that's when he was knighted. So he was Sir Charlie Chaplin in 72, and then he dies in 77. So it's that 5 years almost completely and utterly exonerates everything that went wrong in his life. And again, it involved him coming back to London to be recognised in something. And you know, he was not only a victim of McCarthyism and the Red Scare and the fear of communism, but he was also a victim of the Cold War, because people don't realise that one of the reasons why he was turned down for a knighthood 3 times was because he became a political pawn. You know, he was in the middle of America and obviously Britain were incredibly close they were allies during the Cold War against Russia. He had apparently had Russian sympathies, which he didn't. He was chucked out of America for being a communist. He was living in Switzerland. And I don't blame him for moving to Switzerland, because I'll tell you why. If he'd have moved to Britain, if he'd have come back home, he would have had to have given 40% in tax of his whole estate. A lot of that estate wasn't even money that was made here. It was money that was paid into the taxes in America, where he'd already been paying his taxes for 40 years. Wow. So he would have got taxed twice just to be able to live in the country of his birth. So he went to Switzerland because it's a tax haven. I don't actually blame him.
Yeah.
And he went to Switzerland, and the Queen was very reluctant to knight him because she didn't want to upset the Americans, because they chucked him out for being a communist. Britain was very much in between these two big countries during the Cold War, between America and between Russia. It didn't really want to, it wasn't really piggy in the middle, because it was quite clearly on America's side. But at the same time, we're a lot closer to Russia's nuclear weapons than America was. So it was, you don't think of a silent film star as being somebody that would get caught up in the political issues that he does. And he does. He really does. And it's quite ironic, really, because a man that spends his whole life not talking has to constantly declare himself. It's quite amusing.
Very, very cool. So reaching the stretch goals at 5K, a print of Chaplin, drawn and signed by you, and sticker by 6 A.M. Comics.
That's a picture by me. And that's going to be as a print on there. They're all going to be hand signed. And then underneath that, which I love, and the CG UK guys ribbed me about this one, because they're like, "Oh, look, it's a caricature of you, and you got your mouth open again because you never stop talking." Oh, what a surprise! So I love that. 6 A.M. did that. Originally, that was a whole picture of the CG UK crew that he had done. And I messaged him like 2 days before the campaign. And I said, "Look, I know I'm leaving this till last minute, but that little caricature you did of me, is there any way that you can just take me out of it so I can make a sticker of it? Because I just think it's great and it'll be brilliant for my campaign." And within, I reckon it was a day, he messaged me with this. So he'd not only like just done me on my own, he'd actually put me with Chaplin like that. And I was like, yes, that's exactly the sort of thing I want. And so that everybody's going to get a sticker of that as well.
That's just perfection. I love that. It looks so much like you. He got spot on.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. What's going on with my mouse? 10K, all backers receive Carl Chubb Stefan's beautiful cover as a virgin print.
Yeah.
Ink washes and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff. This is so cool.
That's sold on I was originally going to put it on the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But because Ethan did his auction stream on the opening night, I actually I sold it on there, and I can't remember how much it went for now. I think it went for about $500. And in the chat, I turned around and went, I knew that Cole was watching because that's Cole's piece.
Mm-hmm.
I said, and the way that you've probably seen it, the way he does his auction streams is that he goes, "I'll put your PayPal in the chat, and then the person can pay." And I turned around and went, "Carl, put your PayPal in there." Like, I didn't want anything for it. I just sent the money straight over to Carl because, as far as I'm concerned, that cover is worth so much. And that cover is worth so. And to be fair, like, the two people the other person I'm going to give a shout out here for is Billy Tucci, because I tell you something, Billy Tucci, oh my God, right? So originally this was just meant to be a print. This was never meant to be a cover. Billy Tucci wasn't meant to do my third cover. And he's working really hard on the next She. He's at the moment, he's fulfilling Return of the Warrior. So he's, like, really involved in bringing back his great 90s comic. And he actually put on my Facebook page, I posted this picture, he put on my Facebook page, "This is one of the greatest pieces I've ever seen." And I took a screenshot of it and I DM'd it to Carl, and Carl was like, he didn't know what to say. And then Billy DM'd me and went, no, don't make this a print. This is a cover. This is 100% a cover. And like I keep saying, 62 of these have been sold. So you do the maths. I'm going to have to buy Billy a drink when I meet. There's going to be a serious bottle of something, probably single malt, going on here that I'm going to have to buy him, because that's Mr. Tucci. You made me a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a very good piece.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So between them two, my God.
A 20K stretch goal. Fantastic children's book, Kid Capers by Statistical Zero and You.
Mm-hmm.
Collection of new children's shorts based on the 1921 motion picture The Kid. Follows the lovable tramp and his fish out of water role as a fatherly little orphan kid with crazy antics they get up to.
So the idea is, in the film, he finds a little baby, and the intertitle card says 5 years later, and you see him, grown up to be the cute little boy. So Stato and I basically was like, right, what happens in that 5 years? So we decided that we were gonna play around with some little jokey little stories. So the best thing I can think to you. Okay, so imagine Lady and the Tramp mixed with Tom and Jerry. That's what these stories are like.
Okay.
So then some of the pages are below that you'll get to see. Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely great.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, and again, that's a 20K stretch goal. So everybody's going to get that little book now. That's like, if you want to say it's like an ash can, everybody's going to get. This particular one is really cute, because what the story is that the tramp decides that he's going to be a flower seller on the side of the road, and he runs out of flowers. So the kid goes in hunt of some flowers, and he breaks into a garden and steals someone off the front lawn, takes it back, and doesn't realise he's being followed by a policeman. And so that's the sort of stories. And I will say that I have put on the campaign by Statistical Zero myself, but I reckon my input is him sending me pages every day or every other day, and me going, "Oh, I really love that," because actually he's done so much. I mean, there you go. So he's going into the garden now, and the policeman's seeing what he's done. And the little black boxes there are going to have title cards, just like the silent films.
Oh yeah.
So it's gonna be like that. So it is gonna be. It is going to be very cool. I love that panel there where he's running along with the little kid, and he's so stubborn. He's like, I still don't think I've done anything wrong. But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I mean, I've come up with one story that is in there. But I literally said, because Stato's got a love of silent films and Chaplin, so I was more I hope this is the right way to put it. I used Stato as a bit of a social experiment. And what I mean by that is I was like, let me see what he comes up with, because I like seeing what Chaplin means to other people. And I love sort of just letting them do their own thing and seeing what comes back. And that's kind of what happened with my covers as well. That's why I don't think it was possible to not have a free tier cover on this campaign, because otherwise people were going to not know what to do when it came to buying them, because there were so many people that wanted them all.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, I can't possibly make them pay shipping on every single one. So I set up a tier where they could have them all. But yeah, it's this wouldn't have existed without Charlie. I was just slated to do the. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. But no, we do. I'm very close with Stato. We talk every day. We got a lot in common as far as like films and stuff and TV goes. And just have him working on this is incredible. So I am really grateful. That's the ink spots coloured version. That's the one I was telling you about. That's the cover now on the campaign. So is it here? I think it's here. Yeah. So if I'm just going to share my screen with you.
Sure.
Because you can't. I will add it to the bottom of the campaign, I think, so people can see it. But that's the actual cover. Yeah, so it's just the post. It's just the print, but it's going to be that. That's going to be the cover.
So cool. So cool. Man, that looks good.
So yeah, that's my campaign. I'm so excited. And of course, at the very bottom, you'll see that it's all like it's got the license. I have to have that on for legal reasons, but I'm also quite proud to have it on there as well.
Yeah, that lends all the credibility in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. Getting the blessing from the estate.
Mm-hmm.
So checking out the purse real quick. As you mentioned, the featured tier is all 3 covers, plus you get 2 11.5 by 8.5 inch prints.
Mm-hmm. We call them A4 over here. But of course, I knew that most of my, I'd say probably 65 to 70% of my audience is in America. And that's not only CG, that's my silent film backers as well. There's quite a lot of, it's still quite a big thing in the States. So I had to put it in 11 by 8. Otherwise, no one, so many people be like, well, what size is A4? It's about the size of a piece of paper, a standard piece of paper. That's what they'll be.
Right. Then you got the Donald DeLake variant cover.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the physical book itself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the physical copy of the Carl Stefan cover.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Charlie and Stan one shot.
Yeah.
I think it was a brilliant idea to have it as a separate one-shot comic rather than try and incorporate it into the overall story.
Yeah, because I've had people buy it that haven't bought the main book, and they've bought it because they've either bought it as an extra for someone else, or they've bought it because actually they're only Stan Laurel fans.
Okay.
And I didn't want someone to have to buy this whole massive book on Chaplin for about 20 pages on Stan Laurel.
Right.
And I spent a long time working all this stuff out, so I just thought it was a good idea.
Hold on a minute. All right. Thank you. Vinnie Tartamella variant.
Mm-hmm.
That's that book.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean he caught his likeness so well. It's such an amazing cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ink Spots color variant.
Mm-hmm.
And that, what the hell? Sorry, just a sec. All right, so then you got all 3 covers plus 2 A4 prints, the international tier.
Yeah, the international tier, there's nothing different about it to the featured tier. What it is when the campaign was set up with Indiegogo, something weird happened where it didn't, even though I definitely clicked rest of the world, it only put it down as America. And you can't, once you've set this campaign up, the minute someone buys it, you can't edit anything. Yeah. You can't even edit the pictures. So, for example, I had backers contacting me saying, we can't buy the book. There were I think one in Singapore, I think it was 2 or 3 in Australia. They were like, I can't buy the book and I want to buy the book. So the only thing I could do was physically go in and create a whole new tier, and then just label it the international. And those 2 people there are 2 people that have basically, I think one of them ended up buying the caboodle package anyway, but the other 2, I think they're the Australian 2, they bought, and that was all it was. There's nothing different. It's like the ink spots cover. This is how weird Indiegogo is. The ink spots cover on there, it's showing that I haven't sold any, but there's now a hidden tier that's got 5 sold. The reason being is that last night I launched it on EVS's, and Peter Gilmore has beautifully done all these little idents for me. So I messaged him because he was still around, he was still up and he was working. And I said, oh, Peter, can you just put ink spots cover on the ident so I can make it match with all the others? And then he went, yeah, no problem. But then when we tried to add the picture, because 5 had already been sold, it wouldn't even let me change the picture. So I was like, oh, that now one picture looks completely different. He was like, well, that's fine. All you do is you hide this tier and you create it again with the same picture. So the people that have already backed, they're still going to get their book, but you can't see the tier on there because I've had to hide it because the image is different. So it's so bizarre the way that this organises, but it's fine. It's all there. I know what's been sold. I know who's going to get their book, so it's cool.
Yep, for sure. Then we have the Keystone Kit and Caboodle.
Mm-hmm.
That's like all the works.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't know what the thinking behind Indiegogo is, because this is your campaign's still pretty darn new and they already have this discounted.
No. You do that. So basically what I did that for was to show people that by getting all of this, if you was to get those things individually, you're saving on average of about £50.
Oh.
No, you set those yourself. You set the RRP and you set the actual price, because if you was to go through at the very minimum when that campaign was launched, the difference between you either buying the featured tier or getting these things all individually worked out without shipping to be about £50 different. But that has already gone up to be even more of a saving now, because there's been things added on that campaign, such as the where it says in there includes exclusive perks. So things like that new ink spots cover, the prints that have come out. You've also got a patch in there that's not going to be available elsewhere. Oh. There's also going to be, the standard things like bookmarks. Stato's working on another print that's going to be only for there, and that's going to be all his. Well, actually, no, sorry, I lie. It's not. That might be a stretch goal. We haven't decided what we're doing with it yet, but there is another print that's being worked on. That is all of the sketch cards. He scanned all of the sketch cards, and they are all put together, and then over the top of them is this beautiful silhouette of the tramp. So the idea is that you can see them all laid out to be the different sort of stages and parts of Charlie's life, but overall they all come together to make this one character of the tramp. So that's, like I say, there's still 48 days left of this campaign, and there is going to be some nice stuff added as well.
Wow.
There is I'm sort of in negotiation with ComicsGate, which is run by Wyatt Holiday, to have a t-shirt. So if we can get that together before the campaign ends, that'd be fantastic. We'll be able to have that. And again, that will go in if we manage to sort it out, that will go in that box too. It's just you'll have to DM me and tell me what size t-shirt you want, because otherwise, you know, I'll have to put the right ones in the right. I have to order the right ones to go in the boxes. But it should, you know, it's all these things. This campaign is very much still live. It's very much still a work in progress. There are still things that are going to be added, and it's had so much. It's had so much success so far. I'm just really, really proud of it.
If you go through Comics Avalon, would you simply redirect everyone to go to Comics Avalon to choose your shirt and select the size and stuff, or would it be like an extra perk or tier on this campaign?
I'd like. Well, again, I need to talk to Wyatt because Wyatt is the expert in this. I would like a T-shirt on this campaign, but equally, I don't really mind if they're sold through Comics Avalon, you know, because at the end of the day, it'd be really cool if you went over there to buy my T-shirt, but you ended up looking at all the other fantastic T-shirts that he's got of various other CG creations and various other things, and you end up buying something else because you see the quality of them and you want to invest in it. So whichever way, it might be that I do both. It might be that you can get it on here, but it might be there's an exclusive one on Comics Avalon. I don't want to say too much before I talk to Wyatt.
Yeah.
But whichever way. I've said to him already. I said to him months ago, I like to keep things like this. I like to keep them in house. I did ask to have it included in my contract. I could have things like T-shirts and key rings and stuff like that, which is fine. So truth is, you know, if I would rather give it to, say, Wyatt than I would give it to another external company. And if he can do it for me, then great. It's someone else in CG I've given some work to.
Yeah, absolutely. Since you are working with a license, do you run literally everything by them before you move forward with it? Like before you do merchandise, do you share with them the imagery that you have planned?
Oh yeah. Even, do you know what? Even if I didn't have to, I still would, for the simple fact that I just think it's the most professional thing to do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, that's what I like to do. I just like to make sure that it's all there. It's all transparent. They can see what's going on, you know, and it's good. That's what I'm really proud of with it.
Most definitely. That's pretty sweet. Let's play the movie once more here.
Cool.
But the man who gives the London poppies a battle with the crowds is, yes, Charlie Chaplin.
Well done. When you get to the part in the trailer about the children's book, was that child who was giggling, was that Stato?
No. No, that's one of my godchildren.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's one of them. A video I had of them having a water fight in the garden. And I thought, oh, do you know what? That's actually really good. So I used that. But there is myself and Chief Justice Optimus and a couple of the other graded guys who were behind the Peregrine trailer. We're actually working on another trailer that I'm going to put out on the second 30 days, which is going to be a bit more theatrical. And whereas the thing is, Chaplin's quite famous for him being really comical one minute, but then in his films become incredibly full of like pathos and sentiment the next minute. And so we decided that we'd have the really happy, jovial one that I've done there, and then the next one is going to be much more theatric. It's going to be a bit more serious. There's going to be some voiceover in it. So it's just giving you that idea of behind the man's laughter, there was a genuine amount of sadness, turmoil, and upset. And a lot of that came from having a very, very traumatic childhood, because he had a horrendous childhood at times. So, and, you know, his story is one of cancel culture. Mm-hmm. His story is one of, there will be times when you'll read this and you'll think about all the stuff that he went through growing up, the adversity that he had, and what he went on to be. And it does, you know, I've had people read my script and actually turn around and go, you know what, when you see about the things people moan about now, when there is a welfare system, when there is, like over here, we have the NHS, we have, you know, a benefit system and whatever, that, you know, we have a lot of very positive things in this country. When you think about what he went through, and, you know, there wasn't a lot of, there was a lot of just trying to make do and have the best of the bad situation. And, you know, I think it was my mum that read the script and went, the things that people moan about now, if they had to live back then, they wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
No, seriously.
and then the other aspect is, you know, when they look at how he, you know, they tried to cancel him. They literally tried to cancel him. At one point, they were trying to imprison him for apparently being a communist. And I saw that. You said they were trying to imprison him for being a communist, and they were trying to also seize all of his assets. You know, at one point, the British newspapers were writing slanderous stories that he'd refused to fight in the First World War, and it just wasn't true at all. And it's a very, you know, he had his fair share of people trying to get rid of him. And if nothing else, it's just, you know, that's gonna resonate with people now. The idea that just because you're perceived to be on the wrong side of history, you no longer have a part, you no longer have a voice. It's insane, and that's exactly what he lived through.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to just take a moment and see, I wanted to get your take on this. I was curious as to whether this sounded legitimately like something Charlie Chaplin would have said, based on your experience and your research. Let's see here. Let me stop that. I found this on, it was either Facebook or Twitter. Or Instagram. But it says that Charlie Chaplin lived 88 years. He left us 4 statements. 1, nothing is forever in this world, not even our problems. 2, I love walking in the rain because no one can see my tears. 3, the most lost day in life is the day we don't laugh. 4, 6 best doctors in the world: the sun, rest, exercise, diet, self-respect, and friends. Stick to them at all stages of your life and enjoy a healthy life. If you see the moon, you will see the beauty of God. If you see the sun, you will see the power of God. If you see a mirror, you will see God's best creation, so believe it. We are all tourists. God is our travel agent who has already identified our routes, bookings, and destinations. Trust him and enjoy life. Life is just a journey. Therefore, live today. Do you think this is something that he did say, or do you think it's like something that kind of got transitioned over time, or misinterpreted, or just turned more into like a inspirational?
Well, firstly, I think the author of this piece is saying that he made those 4 statements, and then the part at the bottom is her own words or someone else's words.
That's what I'm wondering too.
Yeah. The third, this is me being really pedantic, and only because I am, and this is not to blow smoke up my own backside. I'm very well researched in this subject. The first quote is actually, "Nothing is permanent in this world, not even our troubles." So that's slightly misinterpreted.
Right.
I love walking in the rain because no one can see my tears. I'm not entirely sure if that is a true statement. There are a lot of misquotes of him out there. The third one, the most lost day in life is the day that we don't laugh. That's not the correct quote either. The correct quote is, "A day without laughter is a day wasted." I'm not entirely sure about the 4th one, but I do think it's something that he definitely would have lived his life by. But interestingly, my favourite Chaplin quote is not even on there. My favourite Chaplin quote is, "Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people," and it's from The Great Dictator. And the idea that all these dictators that claim that they are doing things for the benefit of people, they're actually doing it to enslave the people to what they want them to do, but in actual fact they're giving themselves all the freedom that the people should have. And I think that is
true.
And the thing is as well, if you read the speech of The Great Dictator, it's literally one of them facepalm moments. Like, you read the speech of The Great Dictator and you sit there and you go, how did people think he was a communist? This speech is talking about democracy while he's dressed as a satirical version of Adolf Hitler. Like, why would you think he was a communist? It was the craziest thing. He was advocating democracy. He was advocating that what the British and the American troops, or not the American troops by that stage because they weren't in the war, but the British troops were doing, fighting for freedom in Europe, that he wanted America to get involved and fight for freedom in Europe because he saw these 2 countries as being the most powerful and important countries in the world. He felt the importance of the British speaking people and the freedoms that they had created for themselves around the world. So there wasn't anything communist about him. The problem is, and I've said this so many times, is that Chaplin grew up in England, where our idea of the left is very different to your idea of the left. Our idea of the left is I'm going to say something. If I'm so glad Mark isn't here because he'll probably tell me I'm wrong, but there is a difference between socialism and communism. All right. And to the British, there is a difference between socialism and communism. If Chaplin was anything, he was a British socialist. And what I mean by that is he believed in the welfare state. He believed in the national health system. He believed that the people should have these rights. But he also loved the royal family. He loved the pomp and ceremony of the traditions of the British Empire. He loved the ideas of Winston Churchill. He thought that Britain and America should be liberating the world from the tyrannies of oppression. So that's not a communist. That's someone that's grown up on the rough and ready streets of London and seen how bad it is. So, but on the same side, I understand that. I'd even say the left not the recent left in America. I mean, the left in America now is just nuts, but the left always traditionally in America used to be more center leaning to the left, and then your right was center leaning to the right. You wasn't massively moderate on either side. Right. That's why you have a 2-party system, right? They're both center leaning, but one's leaning to the left, one's leaning to the right. Well, over here it was left and right, and then you had a center. But even our left was only slightly off the centre, and even our right was slightly off the centre, but we still had a centre party, if it's making any sense at all.
Why?
But yeah, it's a bit. But yeah, I mean, there's just the entire speech of The Great Dictator is probably my favourite thing that he ever did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he talks about we think too much and feel too little, which is 100% true. We do. We don't stop and actually take note of what's going on in the world. We don't look at the beauty of what is around us. We're constantly worrying about this, worrying about that, making problems for ourselves that don't exist, not appreciating the things that we have. And you know, and I said this last night when I was on Ethan's stream, the problem with so many people now is that they don't know what real turmoil is. They're not living through a war. They're not petrified that another country is going to drop a nuclear bomb on them at any minute. They're not scared about the fact that, you know, I mean, we get it over here. People are not scared about not getting a job because we have a system where if they're not working, they have a benefit system. I know a lot of countries have that too, but there's a safety net. With most westernized countries, there are safety nets where nobody really ends up with nothing. Not really. Of course, there are situations where people will, and there are horrendous things that have happened, but we live in countries that are very privileged, and a lot of us are worrying about things that you don't need to be worrying about. And I think that that's a big thing. You know, we think too much and we feel too little. We're not actually stopping to take note of what we should be thankful for. We're making our own problems a lot of the time, and I find very frustrating. Matter in the chat says, I'm still trying to get a job, but the difference is you're trying. You're actually going out there and you're trying, and that's the important thing. Like, I will never take someone away that is trying. And even if people, you know, are finding themselves in situations where they can't work, as long as they've got a really good attitude to being thankful for what they do have. It's about your mental health, isn't it? It's about actually people just trying to look after themselves mentally as well as physically. And I think that was what he meant by that. You know, take the time. And there's so many things to him that I just think are actually not known. You know, people see him as being up on stage being on the screen and jumping around and doing that, but they don't realise that there was a very, very intelligent person back there that was making some real waves philosophically, if you like.
Yeah. On that note, we should probably bring it to a close. I know you're strapped for time.
I've got I'm on my own.
No, I
thought you'd done what we all do and you kicked yourself out the stream. I've done that so many times before. Thank you to everybody that's listening. I'm going to be over on Critical Blast in about an hour's time, talking about the book as well. So
nice.
So yeah, it's going to be. I'm doing the rounds. You'll see me around. You'll probably get bored of me talking about the same thing for.
Never. Yeah, I wish we could have had more time. Maybe another visit.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you always send around when your availability is, and I always try to do something. And hopefully, like the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to do something here too, and you know, talk about maybe towards the end of the campaign. Thanks to everybody who's been watching, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed sort of seeing your comments and getting involved. So thanks everybody.
Oh, so real quick, it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, that since there's 48 days remaining, you decided to go for the 60-day campaign. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody said to me, you should have done it 30 and then extend the 30 because you might find that a lot of people will wait for the last week to back. So, but I turned around and went, I really don't care if that's the case. Like it's done amazing. And if people are going to back, they're going to back. And whenever they back is fine with me. As long as you enjoy the book when you get it and you love the book when you get it, I don't mind if you backed in the first hour or the last hour. And it is going to go in demand, and it's going to stay in demand until book 2 comes out.
Oh man, this is a really exciting project, and I knew you'd succeed. I just didn't know how fast you'd succeed.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it carries on, and it's a real big, you know, milestone book in CG. I want it to be this, you know, I really want it to be sort of one of them that turns around and people go, well, this apparent group that hates everybody, look how well this female's done in there. You know, females don't exist. They
a figment of their imagination.
yeah, exactly.
So you got the floor. Would you share with the world how people may find you on social media?
Well, I have a Facebook page, which is also Charlie's London. I have my Twitter, which is Charlie's London. You can find obviously the Indiegogo is Charlie's London. Everyone thinks Charlie's London. The irony is at the moment my name isn't here, Charlie's London, because it was a bit of an in joke. One of Tyrone Lancaster, who's goes in a lot of the chats, he jokingly said one day that I was Cockney Artist Pro Secret ever since I became a creator. So I sort of every now and then when I'm in a silly mood, I'll put it on my my StreamYard, and I forgot that I had it on there yesterday, and I went on to Ethan's and I was like the name, and I was like, yeah, I'm stealing this now and I'm keeping it. It's fine, I like it. So it's a bit of an in joke. I keep it and I have it up there every now and then. It's a bit of fun.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook and YouTube under WyzGyz Entertainment, Twitter under WyzGyz Tweets, Parlay under WyzGyz Parlays, Twitch under WyzGyz Twitches. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Mark the bell for notifications. Make sure, hopefully, you get notified when there's a new stream or video. And leave a comment in the comment section below to share what you're most excited about on Charlie's London's project here.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone in chat. You guys have been awesome. Thanks to everyone who watches this on replay. And thanks to our very special guest, as always, Cockney Artist Pro Secrets, aka Charlie's London. Thank you.
Bye.
Ending broadcast in 3, 2, 1.